Good afternoon, everybody. I think we're live now, so we'll get started. First of all, I want to thank those that are joining us online for our public board meeting of the Board of Trustees and district personnel. I want to first start off by welcoming our interpreters, Heather and Danica. Thank you very much for being here today. We really appreciate it. And thanking all of those who are joining online as well and for showing your interest in matters related to education. I do want to say off the top that a lot of work goes into preparing for a meeting like this, so I want to thank all those around the table. We spend quite a bit of time in advance. We get documents in advance, and we're trying very hard to get the matters right. So I want to thank everybody for the time that you're freely giving to this very, very important meeting. I also want to take this opportunity at this juncture of the school year to give a big thank you to everybody involved with education. That includes everybody involved at all levels, but especially on the front lines, our students and our teachers who are making us proud every day. And I'd be remiss if I didn't start off by saying that this is Remembrance Day week, very, very important. And we're thankful for all those who sacrifice so that we can have these educational opportunities that we do have. And we do hope for peace where that can happen and the removal of conflict wherever, but we do want to acknowledge those who have sacrificed to make these educational opportunities available for our children and for our future. I'm going to start off with the adoption of the agenda. So all Board of Trustee members should have the agenda in front of them that was made available in advance. And I'm wondering if anybody has any changes or additions or any discussion that you want to have around the agenda, or can I get a motion to accept the agenda as presented? Thank you. We got a motion to move and a motion to second. Okay, so I guess we'll just take it to all in favor of the agenda as it is. Contrary-minded? Carried. I should start off by saying that my name is Dr. Greg O'Leary. I'm the chair, and I'm sitting at the head of the table here with our superintendent, Mr. Terry Hall, and I think we've introduced our trustee members a number of times, but that'll come out through the meeting as we go forward. So we'll move really quickly to agenda item number 3, which is a consideration of our minutes. And I guess I'll ask if anybody has seen any omissions, any corrections people feel that are required, or if hearing none, we'll move for a motion to accept the minutes as presented. So I'll just give everyone a second there to have a look at our minutes from last time. Okay, hearing no concerns, can I get someone to move? Thank you, Trustee Jewer. Thank you, Trustee Lane. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried. Okay, this is easy so far. Business arising. We have no new business arising today. So we're going to move it over to what we call the crux of our meeting and really important part of our meeting now, which is our superintendent's report from Mr. Terry Hall. So I'll turn it over to you now, Terry.
Thank you, Chair and trustees. Overall, I just want to say I think we had a very good start to the school year. I think it was a smooth start overall. Given there was some things that societal things that are out there that we always deal with, and we try to protect our schools as much as we can from those things. We had lots of positive feedback from schools and administrators regarding their startup and welcoming students back to class. There's an overall general enthusiasm and excitement, and I think we'd characterize it that there was somewhat of a less anxiety than in the last few years as we see the impact of the pandemic lessen and the reality of it that we were facing. So that's it was a good thing. School administrators, again, were finally able to meet face-to-face in October with our directors of schools and other district staff. This is the first time since the pandemic started that we were able to do some face-to-face and be able to get some good sharing of ideas between administrators and ideas going forward. So, and in particular, it was great for this year. We had over 40 new folks in administrative roles in our schools this year, so it was a great introduction and a great way for them to start learning from their colleagues who are more experienced at it. We also got more into our professional learning and closeout days again this year. We're just finishing them up. It was a good mix of both in-person and online that covered a range of topics that we needed for in our schools. And most recently, I had the pleasure of attending a ERDI conference, where it's a good opportunity to collaborate with other leaders of other districts across Canada and share ideas, understand common challenges and successes that we're having. So it's done twice a year. So the fall one was a great success. Continue with school startup. The NLESD and Department of Education facilitated 22 days of professional learning with school administrators and teaching staff this past spring as we closed out the last school year to be ready to getting into this year. It supported the revised provincial responsive teaching and learning policy, the new comprehensive assessment policy for our K-12 system, and the teaching to diversity policy in K-12. So great partnership with the department, and lots of good training happened to prepare our teachers. We also had an assessment and evaluation announcement recently. The Department of Education just announced that there will be a new evaluation framework for our high school students. So basically that traditional public exam methods will be eliminated from the system, and there will be a consultation process with parents and guardians to help us develop the new one. So exciting times, and there will be opportunity for some input as to the best way to understand that our students are learning and to advance their learning, because that's ultimately what we want to work towards. We have lots of positive action for student success program, which is now, I'm happy to say, in 76 of our school sites. Just back in 2020, we only had this in 15 of our schools, so we've made great strides, even despite going through the pandemic. We're in a lot more schools that we're able to help more students and help them with some credit recovery and keep them on track to be able to be successful citizens for the province in the future. We've advanced our Indigenous education and our multicultural education with a new program specialist that's supporting Indigenous education, and that's Ms. Shirley Robinson, who's been active out in making the connections and with partners and planning in the province. And our multicultural education, which is advancing our EAL, English as an alternate language, for any new Canadians that we have coming in. So very proud of those two initiatives, and helping as many students and staff as we can. And something new we did this year was we actually have two itinerants that are actually helping support students and families actually in their temporary housing until they get permanent housing, which helps them navigate to enter into the school system and when they're prepared. So something new we did this year and seeing great success. Further with school startup, we have a lot of community and government partnerships that we're proud of that helps with the learning environment. Two in particular I'll just mention. One is Kids in the Know, which is a body safety program for kids. It will be available in all K-9 classrooms in Newfoundland and Labrador by September 2025. So very proud of that, and that'll complement the already curriculum that we have that speaks to body safety and understanding body and those things. And we also have the School Safety Coalition, which again I'm proud to be a participating member, and it's discussing safety in and around our schools, so students can feel safe in their learning environment. A number of partners have jumped on and taken this very seriously, including Departments of Justice and Department of Education, the NLTA, the RNC, and the RCMP, just to name a few. So it's a good display of community partnership to make sure that our schools feel safe and students and staff feel safe in the learning. We also continued with our the 3-year comprehensive school health project. We're in the final year, respect in sport course, because we want to make sure that those in extracurricular activities and sport also carry forward from the school day that they need to be respectful and create a safe environment for people to be able to play sport. We're currently in final discussions to have a naloxone kit emergency response in our schools, so stay tuned. And continued with our occupational health and safety programming. Over the summer, there was a lot of work done to prepare our schools and classrooms to receive students again, and understand where we needed to do some repairs and maintenance or alterations in order for students' needs to be met. We're still partnering with government on the new school planning that was announced a couple of budgets ago, and we're eager to get new infrastructure going. Continuing with our ERP implementation. We have a new Google orientation platform now in place for all employees, provides a convenient access point to a lot of information that new employees and new hires would need to know in order to be productive as soon as they come in the door, as well as the mandatory training that they must complete, which includes our very important code of ethics training that we ensure all new hires undergo. Of course, the recent announcement that we were able to implement the elimination of the 1.6 family responsibility zone. Proud that we're able to achieve this for 123 of our schools this year and almost 6,000 students, and the remainder of the schools and students will have this fully implemented for September of 2024. So a lot of work going on both inside and with contractors to be prepared to be able to provide that service. And part of the student transportation as well, we're also considering and looking at to be able to help the environment to considering a future move or at least migration to electrified busing fleet, and we're working with our Atlantic Canadian partners in that as well. And we're improving our accessibility plan for the school system in line with the Provincial Accessibility Act and guidelines. So that's really school startup. Lots of work that went into school startup and continuing on. As you could see, I'm very, very proud of the staff in the district and our students and our partners for helping us along those tracks. Another very important aspect this year is digital safety. It's been ongoing for a number of years, but there was a big concerted effort to make sure there's a lot of education out there on digital safety to start up with this school year. There was a focus to ensure families and general public were aware of the resources that we shared with students. This digital safety has been a thread through our school system for just about a decade now, and it was founded in the provincial government's Safe and Caring Schools policy, specifically going back to 2013-14. Overall, and I think everyone would agree, all members of the community have a role to play in helping our young people understand any online behaviors and the importance of watching out for online behaviors. We're all here to protect and make sure that everyone is aware and is doing it safely. Some new initiatives we implemented this year was our Safe Inclusive Schools itinerants have been sharing a tech tip. So basically on Tuesdays on social media, for educators and families, we just put a tip out there and give some advice as to things to watch out for. So it's just a constant reminder and little things that people can do. We've also developed a number of communication medium like posters and resources that we share with schools, and posters and that throughout the schools as well, and make sure families are aware that we continue to do this. So again, you can never do enough to make sure that online safety is to the forefront, and as we use technology more and more in our education, because that's very important. Staff recruitment. Recruitment and retention is a challenge across Canada and North America. But we've put a spotlight on this year, and a concerted focus to have improvements. And I have to give a shout out to the HR department and our recruiter on the impressive effort this year that they put forth in order to make the inroads that we have been able to make, even though it's challenging times. And of course, government and Department of Education for supporting us early on in order to make some improvements and strides with our requirements and the ability to start recruiting earlier. And just the mere fact that we have a recruiter on staff has helped us bridge some partnerships. And one of the more important partnerships is being able to talk with universities and colleges sooner and help the students understand where the opportunities are, and the valuable education we provide here, and especially in the hard to fill areas where we're trying to put additional incentives this year to help improve recruitment, but also help our youth understand the great opportunities throughout our entire province that they can go and explore and see and have a fulfilling career in education. So it has paid a lot of dividends. It's allowed the district to focus on getting new teachers and providing opportunities for graduate students right out of university. And we've had some great success using social media as a strategy as well, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And to that point, we've been able to employ 40 new graduates out of university this year in gainful employment and in a classroom and teaching kids on a regular basis when they took advantage of the opportunities. So great all around, a great effort to start to I guess ease some of the recruitment and retention. Still a lot of work to go. It's a challenge that all districts will be facing for a few years, but we've definitely gotten out of the gates this year on a good foot. A recent one we just did was we allowed 9 students to go to areas in Labrador to do their 2-week observation block. And it was a way to introduce them to the vastness of our province and the opportunities that are out there. So that was met with great success. The students thoroughly enjoyed being able to attend those schools and understanding our great province. Besides that, we attended a lot of recruitment fairs, the Mon Teacher Fair, where we interviewed candidates on the spot and were able to attract a couple to some of our open positions. And we did recruitment PL sessions with 30 plus districts across Canada to help with some planning and actions for everyone going forward. So great success on the staff recruitment area. And this is just some examples of the positive impact and success that we're starting to see as we have a full concentration on recruiting. So these are some of the announcements that were made and that students made, that they were delighted to be taking on experiences throughout the province that you would have found on Twitter or on our site. So very, very happy and very delighted for these young teachers to be getting off on the right foot. Integration of the district into government. we're all working very hard with the Department of Education and other partners throughout government to meet our timeline of January 2024 for the integration. There is an excitement. Everyone is working together, and they see the benefits of a single team that's driving towards enhanced learning and outcomes for our students. So it's good to see. It's good to have the discussions at the water cooler and throughout the hallways here that there is an excitement and everyone is moving forward. A little bit about the Newfoundland Labrador Education Foundation. This is basically 100% funded by employees through their donations that we're able to give scholarships every year. So I do want to thank the staff so much for their support. And this year we were able to give out 45 scholarships to NLESD students for $1,200 each, for a total of $54,000 to be able to help them as they start their post-secondary education. So we're very proud of that, and the employees are very proud that they're able to do something for our graduating students. And we're also very proud of, winners, and it shows the success of individuals and ultimately the success of the district, and ultimately to the benefit of our students. So we had a number of teachers that were recipients of Prime Minister Awards for teaching excellence across Canada this year. So to name a couple, we had Margaret Rhea Taylor and Jill Rose at Waterford Valley. We had Lisa Watts-Cobb and Roxanne Penny, both educators at PG Cove Elementary. And we had Heidi Kavanagh, a teacher at Holy Trinity in Torbay, that were named as Prime Minister Award winners. Just recently, we also had the Premiers and Ministers Awards for Teaching Excellence in Newfoundland, which was great to see. We had an award for Inuit Excellence. Miss Julie Dicker received the award for Inuit Excellence as a national representational organization, protecting and advancing the rights of the interests of the Inuit in Canada. So it's great to see a teacher celebrated for that. We have some students who actually won significant scholarships. The Lester B. Pearson Scholarship was won by a student, Gabriel Moist Vanderling, which enabled him to be able to do his last year of high school actually at Pearson College in Victoria, BC. So great to see. And we also had a couple of students win the Schulich Leadership Scholarships, valued up to $120,000. So great success by staff, great success by students, and we're very proud. And look, there's a number of things that go on in the district that we try to celebrate. I'm just naming a few here, but it's great to see across the district, the success, and we celebrate them. Here's just a couple of events so far this year that shows the student engagement and their attention to their surroundings and what they want to do to help society and their fellow students. So we had Walk for Breakfast, which is a breakfast campaign, and all funds raised go back into supporting breakfast programs in schools. We had a student leadership conference in October at St. Paul's Intermediate in Gander. This was the first Horizons event welcoming 18 schools for a day of leadership training. Horizons is a fantastic program offered to junior high and high school students by the Canadian Student Leadership Association. We bring together a number of students, and there's some guest speakers. The entire day and a half is run by students. The students MC, the students design the activities, and the students take away the leadership learning. So it's fabulous, and they're helping each other, they're learning from each other, and it's a great initiative that we partner with. We have the Terry Fox Run. We do, and we always we remember this day, and a lot of our schools do the Terry Fox Run and raise money, and are very aware of why we do it. So before ending, I'd just like to reiterate and acknowledge what the chair said at the beginning, that this is Remembrance Armistice Day week. Just want to acknowledge and recognize all those that did give the ultimate sacrifice so we could be here ensuring our youth obtain the education that they deserve, and also hope for peace where there remains conflict today. I want to thank the staff and students for what they do every day. Just named a few here, and the significant work and effort that's going on in the district to make sure our students have a positive learning environment, a positive learning experience, and that our staff, enjoy coming to work and that they're having a positive experience too, making a difference in the students' lives. And finally, I want to thank the board for their support and the work that the board does to help education and to bring education along in the province. So with that, Mr. Chair, this completes the superintendent's report. Barring any questions, I'll table my superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, for your report, and thank you for your leadership. And as I said off the top, to all those who have dedicated their lives to education at all levels. The kinds of things that you brought up today, it's not lost on me. It's a lot of work, and obviously by educators and by students, but also through partnerships with the community and with government and with the business sector. So, and as you mentioned, Mr. Hall, this is a very exciting time for education in our province. So we're all collectively working together to continue to improve educational outcomes and cultivate a shared vision for education within our province, and we always want to grow and evolve and improve, and this is just, I echo your sentiments, this is a really exciting time. I want the very best for our students. So before I move it on, just wondering if there's any of the trustees around the table wanted to make a comment on the report or anything that they've seen. I'll just leave a moment for that opportunity. So lots of good heads nodding and things like that, so we appreciate it. At this time, we're going to move to item number 6, which is committee reports. Under 6.1, Executive Committee, I'm now going to call upon my Vice Chair, the Vice Chair of the Board, Mr. Dennis Mahoney, who's the Deputy Minister of Justice and Public Safety, to provide a brief report and request a motion to accept the report afterwards.
Thanks, Chair. The materials provided to the Board of Trustees confirms that we had an executive meeting on October the 13th of this year. The meeting was called of the members of the board under an executive committee meeting because of the need to make a decision with respect to the acquisition of additional school buses for the 2024-25 school year, and that really arises from the announcement by the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador that we will be changing the policy with respect to access to busing by children across the province. So as a result of that decision, there was a need for additional school buses to be purchased for the commencement of next school year. It was identified that would be about 78 school buses at an estimated cost of just over $15 million. And so the committee met. It received a full detailed briefing about the need for that and the cost associated with it. And following that presentation and discussion by members of the executive, they passed a motion at that meeting that reads as follows. Subject to ministerial approval, the Executive Committee on behalf of the Board approved the purchase of 78 buses to ensure enough capacity to transport eligible riders for the 2024-2025 school year, with funding options to be discussed between NLESD and government. Further, there's in the board package material that indicates that motion was sent to the Minister of Education because such a motion requires ministerial approval, and we received a letter back from the Minister of Education on October the 19th that confirmed that ministerial consent was granted for that decision. So with that report, Chair, I just ask that the members of the board here today approve the minutes of the Executive Committee meeting on October the 13th, along with the motion that was duly passed at that meeting.
Can we get someone to move? Thank you, Trustee White. Seconder. Thank you, Trustee Grandy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you very much, Trustee Mahoney. Appreciate it very much. At this time now, under new business, we're going to move to item number 7 on our agenda. Under 7.1, under our draft annual report, I'm going to ask at this time that Ms. Heather Hillier, who is the Manager of Policy and Planning, will now present her report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to note that this report that's before you today is a preliminary draft of the annual report for 2022-23. It's also the final report for our strategic planning period, which covers 2020 to 2023. And of course, it's the final report of the NLESD as an entity. This may require some additional edits before the final version, but it is, for all intents and purposes, it is the final document. The report addresses 3 strategic issues: student engagement and success, equity, health and well-being, and organizational effectiveness. So in terms of the student engagement and success piece, it does address the priorities around implementation of the school development model, the PASS program that Terry referenced in his superintendent's report, responsive teaching, learning, and practices, and the provincial policy, deep learning initiatives, and several diversity initiatives which cover off a number of resources related to Indigenous education, multicultural education, and so on. With respect to equity, health, and well-being, which is the second strategic issue, this is addressed through the Comprehensive School Health Framework. It reflects the continued embedding of social-emotional learning in the curriculum through the RTL policy, and some aspects of social-emotional learning are now embedded at all levels from K to level 4. It references a number of health and wellness initiatives throughout the district, as well as policies and partnerships that are in place or being rolled out this year. And also technology development, new programs and software, new assistive technologies, and a focus on digital literacy. And our occupational health and safety program. So there's been new initiatives around the occupational health and safety program over the last 3 years. Excuse me. With respect to organizational effectiveness, as Terry mentioned in his superintendent's report, this has covered the rollout of the Kayenta ERP system. We're in phase 2 now of the integration with human resources and payroll, RICOR cash management system, the orientation platform, and improvements to our staff room. With respect to student transportation, over the last 3 years, we've had improvements around bus planning software and GPS being implemented on buses, which has made a big difference in terms of communication of information with parents. We've had a major focus on staff recruitment, and we've had a continued focus on increasing the accessibility to buildings and buses, everything from entrances to fire alarm systems, parking lots, washrooms, outdoor spaces, and playgrounds. We noted in particular 3 areas that reflected both opportunities and challenges in the report. So certainly the pandemic is the big one, and that created many challenges for the district in terms of switching to the digital online environment for both students and staff, and making devices available to students, but it also led to opportunities for the district to identify efficiencies in different ways and to create new ways of doing things. And certainly it's increased options for students with enhanced digital environments, and as for staff as well. The integration has been rolling out, and while it has presented some challenges, there will be opportunities and benefits that we note in terms of having a single system leading education in the province. And the recruitment and retention of staff has been a significant opportunity and challenge over the last while, like with all school boards, but we've certainly taken proactive steps in the last 3 years to address some of the challenges we've identified. So I just want to say that, again, this is being presented for approval in principle. The report will be submitted to the provincial government for review, and any substantive changes will be brought back to the board for approval. But basically, the report is here as a preliminary draft now for your consideration.
Thank you very much, Heather. I'm going to put forward as chair, I'm going to request a motion. I'm going to word it this way, that the board approve the 2022-23 annual draft report as presented, acknowledging that there may be some minor changes prior to filing the report on or before November 10th. Does that work for everyone? Okay. At this time, I'll ask for a motion. Someone to move. Thank you, Trustee Mahoney. Seconder. Thank you, Trustee White. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Contrary-minded? Carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Hillier, and keeping right on with Ms. Hillier. 7.2, we're going to get Ms. Hillier now to discuss a medical policy amendment with the board.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. So we're pleased to advise the board that the NLESD is moving forward with adding emergency naloxone kits to our first aid supplies for all junior and senior high schools in the district. We are doing this in consultation with our health partners through the Mental Health and Addictions Division, and certainly based on the recognized provincial and national concerns and crises that have been identified around opioid poisoning. We are proposing a policy change. So currently our policy and related procedures for the administration of medications provides that medication, including emergency medication, must be prescribed by a physician, and there must be parental consent to administer. So to support this initiative, we are requesting that the Board of Trustees approve the highlighted revision that you have in front of you, which is a change to Policy Directive 1. So the policy directive currently reads, the administration of medications to a student is primarily the responsibility of the parent or guardian. The board authorizes the administration of medications to students by staff when the medications are prescribed by a physician and must be taken during the school day or school-sponsored activities. And we're asking the board to consider adding the line, an exception to this directive is the administration of naloxone in accordance with the related procedures. The related procedures are currently being finalized, as well as a memo for schools. And these guidelines and procedures will provide guidance for schools on the administration, on training, on the supplies themselves, on education and awareness for students, families, and staff members, and also around disposal. So the plan is that excuse me, beginning in November, the district will provide a minimum of 2 emergency naloxone kits to each school with junior and senior high school students. And along with the provision of kits, training is being offered for school administrators and select staff through regular first aid training and sessions facilitated by mental health and addiction staff. It's our goal to have kits in school by the end of November and to have at least one person trained in each school by January. We will continue to assess and revise the implementation of the program to best meet the needs of schools and students, and we are establishing a small working group to oversee the rollout now going into this year. We are looking to have this move forward in the next week or so, with having the procedures and guidelines for school administrators finalized. Are there any questions or comments?
I'm going to call on our superintendent, Mr. Terry Hall, just to provide a little bit more information as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Hillier. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks, Heather, for the overview. This is a very important initiative for our schools and for society in general. So I just wanted to take a moment to speak. The leadership of the district and partnership with our partners at NLTA, actually engaged in a training session and a conversation with some health officials who were here at the office, and just so we could understand what it is we'll be expecting of someone in an emergency situation as to what they might have to do. So we did undergo the training. We had a very good session. We took the opportunity to ask a lot of questions of the health officials in terms of, our plan that we're doing. I'll say they endorsed it wholeheartedly and said there's probably nothing more important around the opioid crisis right now that we make these available and we train who we can and make training available. So we're very happy that will be part of our plan. We also inquired about the risk of administering naloxone if you see fit in an emergency situation. They reassured us that you should err on the side of caution. If you have a good inkling, it could be that. Please administer. However, they also assured us that they're not aware of any dangers of administering this if and it may not have been considered because there needs to be the presence of opioid in order for this to activate. So they gave us an assurance that we can train people. You don't need to be a medical professional in order to be able to administer this, and we went through the training. So we decided that we would make both types available in our schools. So in the unlikely event that these would have to be used, if there was an event in the school or around the school that someone could use, that they could choose whatever one they're more comfortable with, either the nasal or the injection. So we're trying to make this as accessible, and as easy for people to be able to provide a potential life-saving treatment to a student or a staff member or even a visitor to the school, that these kits will be in and around and people will feel comfortable being able to do it. So just wanted to reassure the board that we did go through that rigor. Number of questions, and health endorsed what our plan is, and they're supporters as we're going forward, and we do have training and guidelines that will be established with the system as we're getting prepared to roll these out, so everyone is fully aware of the expectations and what this entails. So I just wanted to add that for the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, and thank you, Ms. Hillier and Mr. Hall. And I think it's reassuring for the board to understand some of this information, to know that you guys had this training that's been endorsed by health. The importance of this board has always been, in my time, very responsive and very nimble, and the interest of students is always at heart. So we had a very robust discussion here, very supportive discussion, and I'm going to craft the motion in this way, and you tell me if you think hits what we're hoping to do. That the board approve the amended administration of medications, medical interventions, and chronic care policy as presented, which amendment shall take effect on the date on which changes to the administrative regulations and processes with respect to the administration of naloxone are finalized. Does that meet the needs, and does that capture the spirit of the discussion that the board had in advance of this meeting? Okay. It does. Okay, and that's the case, and I want to thank everybody, because everybody was very, very interested in this, very responsive. It's very important, and I felt that in the discussion. So at this time, then, if everyone's okay with the wording of that motion, can I get someone to move? Thank you very much. Moved by Trustee Grandy, seconded by Trustee Lane. Any further discussion? I know we've already had a discussion, pretty robust discussion and important discussion about it, but I'll leave another opportunity. Hearing none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Excellent work. Again, thank you both to Ms. Hillier and to Mr. Hall. Moving to item number 8 on our agenda, and this is correspondence that regularly gets sent to the district, and it's made available to members of the board to peruse, and we look at it and we read it. Correspondence is for informational purposes only. So if there's no questions, we'll move to adjournment, but I will give an opportunity for any of the board members who have all read the correspondence. If there's anything that anyone wants to comment on before we move to adjournment, I'll give that opportunity.
Just for the approval of the one-day closeout, has there a date been selected for that, Terry, or is there or is that a date that differs according to the area of the province?
Thanks, Trustee Mahoney. Yeah, that approval for the one-day ministerial closeout varies across the province. So it's when schools will get together with, their family of schools with a significant, a specific initiative, and they'll close out. So it can be different days throughout the province.
Thank you.
Anything else pertaining to correspondence that's been sent? No. Just before we move to a motion for adjournment, I do want to again reiterate what I said off the top, the amount of time and energy that goes into the meeting, and I do want to thank those who have been here all day with us and will be here afterwards as well for a debrief. So I want to thank our board of trustees, first of all, Corey Grandy, Michelle Dewar, Dennis Mahoney, Elizabeth Lane, and Blair White. I want to thank our superintendent, Mr. Terry Hall. I want to thank Elaine Cross, who acts as my executive assistant as chair to this board and also as executive assistant to Mr. Hall. She has a very difficult job dealing with two of us, but she's the hero of the event. I also want to thank the district's lawyer, Bernadette Gendron, and I want to thank again Ms. Heather Hillier for coming in and doing both reports for us so expertly today. We appreciate it very much. If there's nothing else, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment, and I want to thank everyone for their time. I want to thank everyone online. I again want to thank our interpreters, Danica and Heather, who've done a great job. And I do want to thank as well our tech personnel, in particular Sheldon, who sometimes comes to our aid, and we appreciate it. And it's been a great day. And can we get a motion to adjourn, if everyone's okay? Our vice chair has given us a motion to adjourn, so we're done for today. I hope everyone has a great day and a great Remembrance Day celebration. Thank you very much.